everybody. My name is Kendra. Welcome back to another installation of the Politics of Kendra. Today we will be talking about something that can impact your day-to-day life and make it one way or make it totally go the other way. And that topic is fear. Fear. Forgive everything and recover. I have a few examples for you today via stories, and let's get into it. So, sometimes I'm scared of the dark. It's not something I'd like to admit, so heck, why don't I just talk about it on the YouTube video and put it on the internet for everybody to see publicly. Like and share. Okay, so sometimes I'm scared of the dark. Since I was a little kid, I've always kind of like seen energies and I guess ghosts to a certain extent. So maybe this is partially the story of the ghost. Anyway, so I recently moved into a new apartment. I staged the place, which is like burning incense that clears the energetic field and clears the energetic field, yada yada yada. I also put some salt in different areas, like by the front door, by the back door, near windows and stuff like that. Salt is a cleansing and protecting element. So I go to fall asleep, and it's probably like my first or second week living in my new place, and all of a sudden I'm like, there's a ghost over there, and I'm like sitting there like holding my stuffed buffalo, because no, I don't sleep with a teddy bear anymore. God, I'm 26. But I do sleep with a stuffed white buffalo. And inside of him is a clear quartz crystal. So, you know, I'm fearful, maybe see the ghost, got the buffalo, and I'm like, wait. First of all, I live in a self-contained apartment building. You need a key or like an electronic fob to get into the building. 1. 2, I'm on the top floor. 3, I have an alarm system. So like, you know, it's not like it's anything physical that got into the apartment. Like literally it's nothing, or it's like this essence, like ghost etheric symbol. And what am I gonna do? Live the rest of my life scared of something that I can't see, touch, taste, or smell, or like entirely see? And so then it really put into perspective. It's like, wait, the universe is showing me that I'm a self-contained individual and I don't need to be scared of anything in my home environment, which would be, I don't need to be scared of anything that's in my own bubble, which would be, I don't need to be scared of anything that I bring in energetically. This ties into the next topic. Anything that I am scared of that I bring in energetically is something that I bring in to my own bubble, into my own vortex, into my own home. So I do like sage myself pretty much daily and take salt baths to keep that aura like spick and span and like where I'd like it to be. But at the same time, it really does start in the thought processes. So let me share another story with you. Let's just go down like this small, itty-bitty, embarrassing kind of memory lane. You know, I'm not scared of it. I'm not scared of what you think of me. Like and subscribe. Like and share. Okay, great. So in my other apartment, I mentioned I just moved into this new one. I moved into here like at the beginning of November. So like 2 days before I'm supposed to pick up the keys, or 1 day, whatever, that I'm supposed to pick up the keys. No, hold. The day that I picked up the keys to this new place, I still had my stuff in my old apartment. Like I signed the lease for this one, but I still had the keys to the old one, and the movers were coming the following day to get all the stuff from the old apartment, previous apartment, and move it into my new square quarters, my new castle. So, yes, that makes sense. However, this day of moving, but not day of moving my stuff yet, there happened to be this big plume of smoke that I saw about 2 miles away from where I live. And I was like, oh no, please don't, I talked about this in a previous video, please don't let that be a forest fire for many implications. Not to mention that it's within 2 miles of where I live. Fear. There's the seed planted, fear. So I'm like, oh shucks, like I'm not gonna like, hold on. Oh, shucks. I'm going to get ahead of this since the seed of fear had already been planted, and I'm going to move some of the stuff that like really matters to me from my old place to my new place. And so I don't have to go do like 500 trips of like guitar, backpack, journals, what else was there? Mandolin, ukulele. I think that was pretty much it. And like my keyboards, my piano keyboards, that would have taken like 10 trips to and from the car. Yeah. So I was like, okay, great. I'm going to go to Walmart and I'm gonna get a dolly so I can, you know, do those initial trips to pack my car, but once I have the car packed and I bring it to the new place, I can hook up all that stuff on top of the dolly and wheel it in, and that'll only be like 2 trips. So I'm like in panic mode. If you've ever seen the show Always Sunny in Philadelphia, it's like the episode where there's like the great storm or whatever. Dee is wearing a yellow poncho, duster poncho, and they go to the like all American everything store, and everyone's just in a panic. And for some reason, like, I don't think everyone else was in a panic, but it's just like there was a lot of people at the department store that night. So I'm like in the Walmart and I'm just like, my mind is like, it's the end of days, and of course I'm a writer, so I do exaggerate every single thing that I experience, and it's super fun. But I was like, oh geez. So I get the dolly, go home, pack up the car, come back here, wheel everything in, and then once I'm like in here, I'm like, the movers are coming tomorrow. So the benefit is that I already moved some of the stuff that I would consider fragile. The other side of it is that I did slightly give in to fear. That was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go return this dolly to Walmart, specifically because I don't think I'm ever gonna use it again. It's like an industrial dolly. But also I like don't necessarily have anywhere to store it. Like I'm not gonna put it in my coat closet, or my coats are in there. So I'm not gonna like leave it on the balcony. I'm a civil human being. So I go back to return it today to the great Walmart. So I'm there in line and I'm just overhearing and getting this sense of fear. Now today I'm not in a place of fear, but the universe was offering a experiential, contextual representation in time and space with words and examples of just slight fear so that I could go in and heal and understand this concept that I'm explaining to you today. The self-contained redundance of thinking and feeling something and then having it be present in your life and then thinking and feeling it more. The never-ending cycle of existence. So I'm there. There's someone behind me talking about, yes, I just don't know if I'm going to be able to do this on time and yada yada. I just don't understand how I'm supposed to make all these moving parts work. Next person is like, I just like, you know, I gotta get from point A to point B, and like, look, I'm at point D, I'm at point E. And these are just subtle like phone conversations or subtle conversations they're having with the other person next to them in the customer service return line. But I'm picking up on the energetic blueprint that is at play, which is fear. Showing up as scarcity or lack of time or being misunderstood or not being heard. Like, how am I supposed to do this? Blah, 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 blah. And so my higher power was saying to me, like, yo, not only do I hear you, I also have outfitted your life with all these different beautiful ways for you to feel at home and to feel safe and to sleep when it's time to sleep and to wake up when it's time to wake up and to move on the day that is meant for moving. And I have created this timeline so you can see the small, subtle ways that you not only project fear, but that you attract fear and perpetuate that into time-space reality. So I'm standing there and I'm like, okay, cool, thank you, universe. As I'm returning this dolly today, I am going to have it be a representation of returning fear back to my higher power and saying, thank you so much for showing me this, and now you can store this book and put it back on your shelf. Because I already read it, I read it multiple times, I did the book report, I did the presentation, I did the reworking of the screenplay, I did bullet points, I talked about it to my friends, I did the book club, and I'm good. I got the book, I got the synopsis, it's good. You know what, here, take it, put it back on the shelf. So I go up to return the dolly and I give her the receipt and she's like, so what's the reason for your return? Oh, she goes, what's wrong with it? And I said, I don't have anywhere to store it. And I thought about this before I went up to say this. I was thinking I could say, I don't need it anymore, or blah, blah, blah. Okay, so hold this in your mind. So I was like, okay, I don't need it anymore. That doesn't work because that facilitates that there was even a need to begin with, and that's just a slippery slope. I'm not sure that slippery slope is what I want to ski down right now. And like I mentioned, I don't want to keep the dolly because it's going to go in my coat closet and there's coats in there. So I said, I don't have space for it. She goes, well, that makes sense. And then she returned it, and then I got the greenbacks and then went on my merry way. And I was in the car driving. I was like, oh shucks, like the universe doesn't necessarily hear, I mean, I've heard this, doesn't necessarily hear the word don't or no. So like, for instance, the universe potentially heard, I have space for this. I don't have space for it. I have space for it. So then I was like, okay, how can I wrap my mind around what I said to continue this healing process and seal the deal, since fear is like, hey, like, what if you like said that wrong, and like, what if you're like still reading the book? You can always like read it backwards or read it upside down, like whatever, like let's talk about it some more. So I was like, okay, I have space for this. And then I was like, boom, guess what space entails? That entails like free, blank, roaming area. So that means that it's open, that it's uninhabited. I have space in my coat closet right now because for coats. You see what I did there? So I was like, okay, cool, solid. Lick the stamp, put it on the letter, put the letter in the mail. And then I was listening to this podcast right now. I've been listening to this podcast recently called Social Media Marketing with Michael Stelzner. It's available on Spotify. It's very chock full of information. So the one I was listening to today, one of his guests was talking about this, the new update on Gmail where it'll populate what it thinks you're going to say in the email. So if you're like, okay, great, let's set up a time, and it'll be like a time to meet next week, and you're like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I meant, and you'll click tab or click the arrow over or click over, and it's like, great, thank you so much. My resume is attached. Did you mean to say is attached? Perfect, thank you. So then I was like, oh great, this is also a representation of when my higher power, when my space, when my essence picks up on a feeling that I am inhabiting or feeling at the time. It says, is this what you mean? And then go, yes, thank you, that's exactly what I meant. But I need to be, however, being aware that it wants to self-populate is the crux. So focusing on the feeling, raising my frequency, being in a state of bliss and positivity and motivational action, then I can just let things, my vortex, my aura, my bubble, my space, just self-populate on demand, because I'm in a good place. So that means what I'm attracting into my space is also going to be in a good space. Yes. Wonderful. Thanks so much for listening today. My name is Kendra. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm at Ken Bunny, K-E-N Bunny. I'm also a singer-songwriter, musician. I'm working on my next album. I have my first 2 albums available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, etc. I'm Kendra and the Bunnies. Thanks so much for listening today, and keep it real. Peace.